Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're taking a look back on the past week of anime and manga, breaking down and discussing all of the latest news and reveals, including why fans of The Promised Neverland are frustrated at the recent news regarding the anime, a frightening chapter of Kaiju No.8, 2 new threats in the latest Black Clover chapter, a brand new manga from the creator of Assassination Classroom and Elusive Samurai, and finally the climax of one of the biggest fights in the Boruto manga. So, without further ado, let's jump into last week in anime and manga. So, season 2 of The Promised Neverland is currently airing, and well, a lot of the fans ain't really feeling the recent decisions regarding its direction as well, and I mean this in the nicest possible way. It's done a Tokyo Ghoul. The sentence all manga fans quiver in fear of hearing about their favourite series, as this means The Promised Neverland looks to be diverging off of the original path laid down by the manga, as the latest episode completely removed a major character's introduction. It's not confirmed just yet how different it's gonna be, but from past interviews we can start putting the pieces together and come to the conclusion that the Promised Neverland anime from here on out will not be like its manga counterpart going forward. Now, fingers crossed that Yugo does still get introduced at some point, and that they've just changed how he gets introduced. Because if they just completely remove him altogether, then that indicates that The Promised Neverland isn't just slightly going off course, it is completely crashing. So if they were to completely remove him, they would be ripping out a core component of this story. Kaiju No.8 continued its great streak of chapters with yet another incredible one. One that, as dumb as it sounds, actually scared me somewhat. Not in a jump scare type of way or anything like that, but just the sheer presence of Soshiro as he perfected his moves for an eventual rematch with Kaiju No.8 actually had me worried. It's so weird yet interesting, as we have a protagonist, Kafka, and his teammates in the Defense Force. But the Defense Force all want to eradicate all the Kaiju, including Kaiju No.8, who's this brand new big emerging threat, who they don't know is our main character Kafka. So Kafka seeing Soshiro train means that he can get a small glimpse into what to expect and how far he will have come, and now also we know he has another trick up his sleeve, which allows Kafka to be more on edge and in some case have the upper hand, as the element of surprise is somewhat lost in their eventual rematch. But on the other hand, Soshiro trains in private. If Kaiju No.8 displays signs of him reading his movements so easily and being aware of a potential ace up his sleeve, it may start to kick into Soshiro's mind that the Kaiju was prepared almost, which may make him be a bit suspicious about those around him, aka Kafka. If Soshiro doesn't kill Kafka beforehand still anyway, during their rematch that is, as this guy looked like a beast. Aside from that though, the chapter actually began with Mina promoting Kafka and telling him that he has a way to go before he can fight alongside her, as they'd obviously once dreamed of as kids. But I can't help think that the first time they do end up fighting on the same battlefield together will actually be against each other. And although their relationship is still fresh and new, I mean we're only 20 or so chapters in, that fight already feels like it could have the potential to be absolutely jam-packed full of feels. But of course we also had that final spread, which was full of so much animosity that it left me feeling quite simply on my knees begging for the next chapter already. So, how many of you guys knew this series was coming out? It wasn't even revealed, as far as I'm aware anyway, until just a couple days before the first chapter dropped, and honestly, if you want my 100% honest first impressions, I really enjoyed it. With it being a Japanese samurai series set in feudal Japan, I wondered whether or not it would be my kind of thing, but it did enough to me anyway to feel unique and stand out with a main character who was enjoyable. Some of the character designs were really great, the characters were interesting enough to keep me hooked and want to know more considering it was the first chapter, and the paneling was really nice. And can we just talk about this page transition right here? Talk about brutal. I won't spoil it, as I imagine many of you are yet to read it, and I do recommend that you at least give it a try, but it is about a boy named Hojo Takatoki, who is on the run after the Kamakura shogunate. Yeah, I can already tell right now that pronunciations, I'm going to struggle with them when it comes to this series, is overthrown, and he must flee from danger to survive, like he has done so often throughout his life, to one day get his revenge. Like I said, I really recommend you go and read this series. It is from the creator of Assassination Classroom, and I'm sure many of you watching this loved that series. And if you did, then, well, I'm certain you'll love this one too. Please let me know in the comment section down below if you do check this series out and whether or not it's your kind of thing. Because I can definitely see this being a kind of series that splits the community down the middle. I think you'll have one half where at first viewing, it just won't gel with them. But then on the other half, I think it could get a really nice, almost cult following. I just get that kind of vibe from it. The Black Clover manga dropped a bombshell this week with one of my favourite chapters of the week and one of my favourite chapters of Black Clover altogether recently. The chapter started so positively. We had Yuno praise, Nact having faith in his allies, Mereoleona just being a badass and Jack just tearing it up, and then Nact calculating that they still have some time to stop the Tree of Qliphoth from sprouting, and then it all went wrong. It's not often reading manga and I flip the page and genuinely drop my jaw, but the Morris reveal was one of those moments. The concept of the Tree of Qliphoth has always intrigued me, and I hadn't expected to see it just yet, so this was a very welcome surprise to me. But of course, I simply cannot talk about this chapter and not talk about the two new devils. These two women look interesting. I'm gonna presume they're sisters of some sort, as they do share many similarities with each other. But I did notice with the wings on the one on the left, they are white wings. And as you'd obviously know, it's hard to tell in black and white manga precisely what colour they are. But we just know that they're not the usual dark, foreboding colour that we're used to with the devils. Many fans, such as myself, have theorised the future possibilities of fallen angels, and maybe now we've got our very first look at one. But the question I want to pass on to you guys is, what does this mean now for the Dark Triad? Is the spotlight going to be shifted to this new threat? Will the Dark Triad fall back a bit and leave it to the new devils coming through? And of course, how strong are these two? I'll be honest, I'm so far anyway not massive fans of the Dark Triad. I think the potential is there for them, but it's just not quite been fulfilled enough to my liking. So I do hope this new threat doesn't just disregard the Dark Triad entirely, and I think that would be a terrible move by Tabata. However, I've been a fan of this series for enough time to know to keep faith in him, because when he wants to, oh boy, can he write a story. One of my favourite times of the month are when Boruto releases a new chapter, and this month was no different. We got the climax to the fight against Momoshiki while he was in control of Boruto through the Karma Seal, with some heartwarming inspirational sacrifice from Kawaki, willing to go to the lengths of suicide to bring out Momoshiki's fragilities. Yes, that's right, this month's Boruto chapter was, as always, fantastic. We learn about Momoshiki's biggest weakness while in control of Boruto, as well as the reason Momoshiki is able to take over in the first place. Momoshiki takes over due to Boruto's low chakra. Yes, that's right, it's revealed that whenever Boruto's chakra hits near enough zero, Momoshiki kicks in. And it's actually the use of Boruto's own Karma Seal to absorb chakra which causes Boruto to regain the strength to take control of his own body again. And so, with the help of Kawaki, willing to burn himself alive, may I add, to save Boruto, Momoshiki was dealt with. At least, for now at least, anyway. But we did learn that Boruto's Otsutsukification into Momoshiki also comes with complete regenerative abilities, which we have actually seen quite some time ago now during the sparring with Kawaki in the manga, but now we have an answer as to why he had that power. One thing I really noticed this chapter was just how much it felt more like Kishimoto. Now, I know that might sound ridiculous, like, well, obviously, Kishimoto is now the head writer of Boruto, but it's just with the use of the flashbacks mid-fight to help add more of an emotional weight to the story. It's just such an unmissable characteristic of Kishimoto's storytelling that it almost feels nostalgic to some degree to see how Kishimoto is back in charge again. But before we end, I have got to ask this question, okay? Is Naruto really dead? If I had to guess, I'd say he's just unconscious, as he's lost a monstrous amount of chakra because, in my opinion, it's actually Kurama who is dead. Or as dead as a tailed beast can be anyway at the end of the day. I'm almost certain that is the case, but let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It was a very, very different kind of video and a new format that I'm trying. But I thought maybe once a week we could have a little sit down and talk about some of the more interesting talking points from the chapters and episodes and news that the previous week gave us. Because I read and watch a lot of series, and I love a lot of series, but I simply do not have the time to talk about all of them as much as I'd love to. So I thought if I tried out a format like this, it's not 100% finished and perfected right now. I can guarantee there'll be 100 changes by the time the next episode comes out, or the 10th episode comes out, or the 100th episode comes out. But I thought some of you guys might like this small little bite-sized little discussions about different series. So please let me know in the comment section down below what changes you want me to make. I am catching up on some other series as well, so I will not only be talking about the ones I talked about today, but I will talk about others as well at some point. So let me know in the comments. Leave a like as well if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you're not already to become a member of the Senpai Squad. And I'll be seeing you guys in another video very, very soon. But as always, until then, peace.